And the question is, why Dubai? Why to come to Dubai in 2 weeks' time? Well, here I have a little bit information about it. An important thing above all is to see what my experience is, who has been in the Middle East for a long time in many countries, in Lebanon, in Palestine, Israel, Egypt, Bahrain, Saudi. I do have to say that the UAE, where I'm here since 2004, the main thing is that it quickly adapts to changes and does everything, especially also considering foreigners, because 90% of the population are foreigners. So they quickly adapted to the Corona situation, quickly got the vaccinations up, quickly enforced that everybody had to wear masks. So that was quickly done. And what there was also very clever, similar to what I've seen with Malta, they opened the possibility that international companies or companies wherever who said, okay, we have to do home office, that the people could say, well, I could also do the home office in Dubai, which of course was a great thing, appreciated by the hotels, by the supermarkets and restaurants, because a lot of money was, of course, brought to the country. So these shows how they are adapting. The new technologies quickly adapted to crypto, blockchain development possibilities. Then Abraham Accord with Israel. The situation which is in the Arabic world, of course, is a big thing. The war with Israel many years ago, when a peace agreement is with Egypt, with Jordan, but mostly in the population, if you go around, they don't really feel so peaceful towards their neighbors. And the UAE is in a complete different boat because they were not involved in the wars itself. They are very open, and they allow now many things. There are now many weddings. Imagine weddings from Israelis taking place in the UAE, because this way they can have a civilian wedding. So they adapted also quickly to the political changes in the world, especially for me as Swiss, from a country which has a reputation to be neutral. But now in this situation, Ukraine, Russia has changed a bit their policy. The UAE have a neutral position, and that means, of course, they are open for all the countries. So these are definitely great possibilities. And since Dubai is in the middle of a region of about 3 billion people, this gives plenty of possibilities that if you move the business here, that you have a market, not of a small country with only 10 million people, but that you can expand to other countries with your services. Therefore, many international companies move also their headquarters to Dubai. The language of the country itself, of course, is Arabic. Arabic is the language of the country, but mostly everywhere business language is English. Everybody is speaking English. So that's similar to Malta. As before, up to my last time I gave a presentation, I could say no tax in the UAE. Well, in the meantime, we have to adapt it a bit, because there's now a corporate tax of 9% has been introduced, which will start in June 2023. So that is a little bit of change where companies have to adapt. There's still no income tax, a personal income tax, but a corporate tax for companies. And foreigners are definitely welcome. It's not just a saying in the marketing materials of some countries where you can see foreigners are welcome, and when you go there, you see, well, I'm not so sure whether I'm welcome, but here definitely are, which is reflected by 90% of the population are foreigners. So to see local people is not so often. I mean, you don't see them everywhere. Very often you're in restaurants and no locals are there, all are foreigners, which is also kind of a interesting way they did here in the GCC countries, where the local population, the men usually wear a white dish dash, and the ladies, they wear very often a black abaya. And they have become also leading in fintech, blockchain, crypto technologies. As coming from Switzerland, Switzerland has the crypto valley in Zurich, and many of those companies have moved or have set up branches in the UAE, in the free zones, or in mainland UAE, where they are offering these crypto and blockchain technologies, and also other metaverse and NFT possibilities. Commodity trading has always been, of course, an important part if you think of oil and gas. but it is also commodity trading and many other things, gold, of course, as well. Diamonds, the biggest diamond trading place in the world is now Dubai. It's not anymore Belgium. It has become in Dubai. And many other things, of course, are also traded in here. Imagine also important is, for example, tea and coffee. A lot of it goes through the trading arms in Dubai. And these are opportunities for large companies, for multinationals who see many synergies, possibilities. Also now with the Abraham Accord, up to now, before the peace agreement, the companies had to say, okay, Israel, all the setups in Israel are absolutely different from the setup of the other Arabic countries. And now many countries say, well, I could have my headquarters in Dubai, and from this headquarters in Dubai, I can visit all the Arabic countries, and above all Israel, which is very impressive that there are about now 8 daily flights to Israel. This is, of course, very, very, very impressive that this is possible. But also small and medium enterprise companies have huge possibilities. And this is also seen that many countries send official delegations to Dubai to learn about it and to see whether they perhaps can move part of their companies, part of their development teams to Dubai, where they can employ foreigners without any problem. They can bring them from anywhere in the world. As in many other countries, there are plenty of restrictions where you cannot just bring in foreigners to work in your company. And here in Dubai, that is not an issue. Although I might exaggerating a little bit, because companies over 100 people, employees, they need to have, imagine, 2% local employees. I mean, of 100 people, only 2 need to be locals, which of course is very, very small. Also very impressive that the real estate, which has gone down, especially at the beginning of the Corona crisis, they went down quite a bit. In the meantime, real estate prices are nearly up to the level of 2008, 2009. So they went up quite a bit. Me, for example, I have offices in the Swiss Tower. They went down to 650 dirham per square foot in 2020, and now they're 1,100. I mean, they nearly doubled within 2 years. That, of course, is very, very interesting and great chance, and of course makes me happy since I have the investment here. So what happens here? And also similar to Malta before, UAE is very, very safe. You definitely are watched here everywhere. This can be said. Cameras are all over the place. Crime is very low. And also for people who are used to a certain standard of living, here it's easy and affordable to have a nanny, a driver, a cook, nurses who look after you. All these are possible. It is not exactly very cheap, okay, but at least it is possible to employ such people, to bring foreigners in to do these jobs. Tourism has increased tremendously. When I look and read at the newspapers, at TV of June, July, August of Europe, well, I just saw very, very bad news that airports had difficulties, airlines had difficulties, and Emirates, Etihad, Fly Dubai, Air Arabia, the main airlines from the UAE, they were well prepared. They were already prepared about a year ago, and they increased their flight offers to most of their destinations. And also because the UAE is neutral in the most political situations, so they have plenty of flights from the UAE to Russia. Of course, this is a market, the price is made by the market, so that means the prices have gone up, but the flights are there. Also, I understand many who fly from Russia to Dubai to fly then from Dubai to other places in the world where otherwise there wouldn't be any direct flights. Representing that there are 90% of the population are foreigners, this is also reflected that there are so many restaurants and hotels who are catering for all these different food tastes and styles of living. So these are definitely huge, huge possibilities. Also for me, people who are over 60, 65, the UAE has become a place for retirement. There is the possibility to retire here, especially we have quite a few clients. They spend perhaps, the older people who spend perhaps summertime in Europe or other parts of the world. In the wintertime, they come to the UAE and have an apartment or rent a house or villa where they can live. And as I mentioned before, they can easily have also employee. That's not an issue. A year ago, the Expo 2020 started. It was called Expo 2020, but in reality, it started then 1 year delayed on 21 because of Corona. And it became a huge opportunity for all the countries to show their possibilities, their advantage, their benefits. And many of those countries, many visitors, many exhibitors saw, wow, how impressive it is how the UAE handled the crisis, the Corona crisis, the political situations in general. And many of them saw these advantages and decided, okay, let's set up in the UAE, let's become resident here, let's have a company here. And this was easily possible. That is definitely a great possibility. Well, there is concerning tax situation. As I said, there I had to include now certain changes. It's not like before anymore. There is now, with the international pressure, they have to adapt to the international requirements. So they had to include also a corporate tax, which is on the very low level of 9%. This will start in June 2023. This might be perhaps also a possibility for some of you, who are watching now, nearly 200 persons. Perhaps some of you are tax advisors. For example, in Switzerland, we are tax advisor. We are helping with setting up companies and giving certain tax advice since nearly 100 years. And all this is now needed in the Middle East, in the UAE, because all these companies here, small or big, tax was never an issue. So when they did their accounting, they never had to think, okay, how do we do it? And now for somebody who knows about tax and that they can see, we can increase the expenses so that the profit is not that big. All such advice, such know-how is now definitely needed in the Middle East. And we have seen that the Big Four, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young and others, they're increasing their staff with persons who have this knowledge. It's also very interesting to see that the UAE has more than 90 tax treaties. So that's also interesting that a country which up to now didn't have any tax has so many tax treaties. So that is definitely also a great advantage where people can do. Recently, also UAE foundations were introduced. Up to now, they didn't have any foundations. And now it is, of course, as I mentioned before, Arabic is the language of the country. UAE, United Arab Emirates, is, of course, an Arabic. It's a Muslim country, so Sharia law applies above all for inheritance matters, for family life. And there, since 2015, it was possible that foreigners could set up a will in the Dubai International Financial Centers where they had testamentary freedom, so that Sharia law would not apply. Because Sharia law otherwise would say, if I would pass away and I'm under Sharia law, then it goes to my parents, to my brother, to my wife, to my children, and a daughter would only receive half of what a son receives. Therefore, people, non-Muslims, were very happy to have the possibility of putting that in a will here in the UAE, where they had testamentary freedom and didn't have to follow the Sharia law. And now for Muslims, thanks to the possibility that they have foundation, it's now the possibility that Muslims who have apartments, villas in the UAE, that they can now put them into a foundation, and in the foundation they declare to who will be the beneficiaries, where they don't have to follow the Sharia requirements. So that is definitely a huge advantage for the UAE real estate sector. And also a very big movement is now the substance which is required, economic substance which is required by companies. This comes, if perhaps I might remind you, that came above all from Europe, where the European authorities were rather upset when they saw that American companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft and others made billions of profit and they paid nearly no tax in it because the taxable entities were not in the European Union, but perhaps on some island in the Caribbean. And the European Union said, but this is just not acceptable that some small little company, perhaps without even any employees, makes billions of profit and nothing is left in the UAE. So they said companies need to have economic substance in the form of offices, in the form of employees, and in the form of that the management is really there to make the decision. So the UAE is an ideal place for that because here it is easy to set up companies and it is easy that companies can have offices. You can have small offices for one person. You can have offices for 1,000 persons. All this is available in different places, in different emirates of the UAE with different prices. And you can also have the employee from any country you would like to have. So that's, you're not required to have all the employees that they would need to be Emiratis. And on the contrary, most of the employees most probably will be foreigners. So UAE is the ideal place to accommodate such companies and upgrade them to free zone companies with real offices and also the management of the location of the company. If they are situated, living, have residence in the UAE, there is now introduced a corporate tax, but no personal income tax. So all the salaries they make goes that to them. A major advantage also of migration of companies, which is now possible that you can migrate companies from other places in the world, from Europe, from the Caribbean, from Panama, Cayman, BVI, Liechtenstein, and so on. If you move them to Dubai, where you can have huge substance, the great advantage of migration, of transferring of companies is that it goes with the bank account. So you don't have to open new bank accounts. As you all know, opening new bank accounts is a real headache. It's very difficult, can take not only weeks, but months, if not years. And also the contracts remain the same. You don't need to make new contracts. So you don't have to bring it up to your clients and say, well, we make a new contract, and they will say, well, in this case, we want to pay you half, or they have new possibilities to define it. So all this, of course, is a great possibility. So that is, here we see the place, for example, which is excellent, is at the financial center, the Dubai International Financial Center. And in Abu Dhabi, there's a similar center, the Abu Dhabi Global Market. So Dubai has become a financial center for banks, international banks. It is a free zone when they are open since 2004. And I was there with the first law firm they had, was my law firm there. I'm very proud to say that. And it has quite a good reputation. Everybody is welcome. But of course, you have also to adapt to their requirements. And they're more or less the international requirements. So it's not just an easy way around requirements. You still have to go through international standards, so it is not really a free business. And if you move here, there are more than 200 private schools for all major curriculums, so all the major languages you can have in your language, and excellent airlines you have, and of course, ladies and older men, shopping facilities are great. I lived 30 years ago in Bahrain. I was a banker, made nice money, but I couldn't spend it there. I could save money. Here now I live in the UAE. Saving money is a little bit more difficult because there are so many shopping facilities, shopping malls, biggest shopping malls, where of course always certain money is left. Well, what else can we say? The low tax regime is also represented with these tax treaties with over 90 countries. You can full repatriation of capital and profit, so it's not stuck in the country, and it's recognized as a financial hub. Infrastructure definitely has improved, is a great, it's on the top standards, and you see what this country has done with the money originally from the oil, but now all the buildings, all the high rises, all the majority of them is from international investors, like persons like me, who have bought perhaps one or two or small offices or apartments. All this is now international life, international money, which is here, and political stability guarantees that that you can have confidence, which is reflected that crime level is very, very low. And as I mentioned before, they are very open for new technologies and plenty of relevant events in the crypto, blockchain, metaverse, NFT field, the Web3 area. They are taking place in the UAE where they want to accept. Interesting to know is also that the migration of companies is not only possible from abroad to the UAE, it's also possible within the UAE. So you can migrate companies from Ras Al Khaimah to Dubai or from Fujairah to Abu Dhabi. So these are great possibilities. From a business center, you can go and have proper physical office in other locations. So that is great that you can upgrade. If you ask me now which free zones I would recommend, there are more than 40 free zones. This is definitely impressive, but makes you, of course, a little bit worried. Where should I open? A very new free zone, the International Free Zone Authority, is here since 2017. They are very dynamic. They have a business and commercial hub, which is very well developed. They have excellent customer services. That means, above all, you get quick responses. That is the important thing. The Dubai Multi-Commodities Center, which is here since 2004, is the largest free zone with over 21,000 companies. They have about 100,000 people living and working in a zone with 66 high-rises between 30 and 60 floors, so definitely impressive. And Ras Al Khaimah, who many of you know, who is very active internationally, which is a different emirate, is still and continues to be very active and has offices, free zone companies as well, also the international commercial companies, which is also very good. An important thing is when you set up companies, always be aware it is a major thing is not so much to establish a company, but to get a bank account. Think of it. So many companies now, many banks require now that you have some substance, that you have offices with a door which you can close. So this is very important to know.